Time Production, Summertime Fine. She got a pretty mind, a Howard alumni. Here to talk about what's going on and why throughout every season, winter, fall, summertime.
Welcome back to another episode of Summertime. I'm your host, Sommer Hill, and today I am with Coach Barry Hunter. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for being with us today.
Yes, I'm so happy to be in Headbangers Gym.
Yes, ma'am.
For the third time.
Yes, ma'am.
In this environment. This is really cool. I like to get started by telling everybody like how we met. So I came here to watch Tank train and to do an interview with Tank before the March 1st fight with Lamont Roach. So of course we got to start with that fight. I need to know your thoughts. Even though we've talked, but what were your thoughts from that fight?
I thought it was a contested fight. I knew it was going to be a fight that wasn't going to be easy. I spoke about that in another interview. I thought it was a spirited fight, and I think the second one going to be even better.
Okay. What did you think of, do you think that the knee down should have been counted as a knockdown?
The rules say differently. I know what optics mean, but nevertheless, you know, it did what it did. The referee made his judgment, and New York ruled on it. So,
Okay.
You know.
So I know during after the post press conference after the fight, he was saying that you all were saying he didn't know which round it was. Whose job was it to tell him what round it is in the fight? Because he thought it was 8 when it was 12, right?
He thought he said he thought it was 8 when it was 12. You know, that job there falls on all of us. But he was looking for ring card girls. And normally that's what he do. We are in the quantity. We need 2, we need 3, we need these last, blah, blah, blah. And it's just one of them things, man, that little lack of focus right there. Lost in focus.
So why did they not have the card girls?
Don't know. That would be a question for the promoters.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a really good fight.
It was. Second one, like I say, part 2, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Are you all training?
Yeah, when I get that phone call, I'm just ready to rock.
Ready to roll. What do you think that you're going to focus on in that training to make it a less competitive fight?
That would be giving away secrets, right? Yeah. No, we'll see what it needs. You know, we got to go back to the film.
Yeah.
See what we need to pick up on and, you know, and go from there.
Okay, well, that was a great fight. Very good job training him. But we're here to talk about you. I want to learn more about you. And like I told you before this conversation even started, like I was doing my research. You have nothing. Like there's not that much out there. So let's get into all of it. And like I also told you, it's important for me to have a conversation with you where somebody walks away feeling like more fulfilled, like they've learned something, you know? So let's start at the very beginning. Where are you originally from?
I was born on 8th Street Northeast, 716 8th Street Northeast. After the riot, 68, moved to Ridge Road in Southeast, and that's where I grew up at.
Okay, so you're D.C. born bred.
Yeah, born and raised.
You have seen D.C. evolve so much.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this evolution of the city?
It is a trip, you know. In my case, some of the areas of the city that I used to frequent when I was younger, I hadn't been to in many years. And actually, I believe it was Northwest. When I went up Northwest, everything was so different, you know. Northwest, Southwest, it was different. Buildings were there in places that, you know, other clubs or what have you was there before. It was just a little crazy, you know what I mean? A couple of times I had to spin around and make sure, you know, I was in the right place. But yes, it has grown. Good ways and bad ways, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm Washingtonian through and through.
So do you remember the riots when they happened?
Yes, I'll never forget the riots because I lived, like I say, 716 8th Street. It's a brownstone. It's like a 3-level, not including the basement. And our porch caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? We were on the top floor, so it was lit up. The city was burning. And I had a young cousin that was just born prior to. And so she couldn't really breathe. She was suffocating off the smoke. So we had to vacate. And from 5th Street Northeast all the way up to West Virginia Avenue, my relatives lived throughout those corridors. And we had to vacate, we grouped up, where we could, some went this way, some went that way, this relative's house, that relative's house. So after the riot was over with, we ended up moving to Southeast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for some historical context, what was the reason for the riots?
Assassination of Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow. So there was riots here in D.C. after that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Funny day. Kept us home from school. It was weird. It looked like almost like a day that we was having an eclipse on, that I remember. And I remember seeing the military, the Jeeps and the military trucks going up and down the street. And it's just one of the things I never forget. We lived across the street from K Jewelers. That was on fire. People were running out. They were looting the place. Yeah, it was chaos.
Was it similar, like just, again, to put it in perspective, was it similar to like the 2020 riots, or were things very different then?
It was off the chain. There's a movie talking about P.D. Green. I want to say Can We Talk or something like that there. And in that movie, they did a segment of that riot, and some of the footage was real, and I remember seeing those images.
I never thought about like being in D.C. at those, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, like at those pivotal moments, how the city must have been in an uproar.
Oh yeah, it was crazy because we were still,
it's Chocolate City.
Chocolate City, and we were still fighting for just basic rights at the time. Used to go down the street and see the big poster with Huey Newton on there sitting in the wicker chair, Black Panther Party pictures and stuff all around. And it was a different time.
Wow. Do you think that D.C. is still Chocolate City?
With a lot of vanilla.
There is a lot of vanilla.
Yeah.
What do you think about the evolution of this city?
Well, in my case, like I said, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's still going on. You got a lot of good people in the city. Everybody don't want drama, you know what I mean? But then you got those that are hell-bent on drama, you know what I mean? And so with that, you can always have that, up and down deal. But I think there's more people in the city that want good times versus people that don't. But the people that don't tend to cause more chaos, friction.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So the bad outweighs the good.
Yeah,
for some
kind
people.
of, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, some people.
I see.
Yeah.
So you said you moved to Southeast. How was the transition from, I guess it was Northeast to Southeast?
It was wild, because now I'm in the projects. And first day there, true story, my first day there, my parents was moving our furniture in the front door. I was in what was going to become my bedroom. And a crank, we had casement windows, to those of them that don't know, that's the one with the crank on it.
Okay.
So I cranked it out, looking out, a beautiful day. And as soon as I cranked it out, it was two brothers outside my window. I was being threatened. I was hiding the window,
What?
right? And that was kind of new, you know
What
what I
were
mean?
they threatening you?
Don't come outside, we gonna whoop you, you in my
What?
house, blah, blah,
They
blah.
were trying to bully you.
Oh, yeah.
How did you respond to that?
First, I was shocked, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know what was happening. I'd much rather be your friend than anything at
Right.
the time, right? And then eventually, we ended up clashing, and I got with both of them.
Oh.
And that's what really started it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so
How old were you?
at that time, when I moved around there, I was about 9.
Okay.
When we finally did get together, I think between 10 and 12. Yeah.
So they were trying to bully you and you were like, I'm not going.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Eventually, over there, it was either sink or swim. You know what I mean? I was in the projects with a mother, 3 sisters. My father used to come get me on the weekends. And that was it. So you had you was either going to run with that pack or they was going to eat you.
So how did you make that distinction? And I'm asking because, we're in a time where a lot of young men are faced with that decision. Like, do I want to be a leader? Do I want to be a follower? Do I want to join them? How did you make the distinction, decide what route you were going to go?
Some people are some people are built a little different. You know what I mean? You can have 10 kids. You know what I mean? And out of those 10, you may have 3 or 4 that are, mischief. You know what I mean? Getting in trouble, that sort of thing. And out of the remainders, you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 to follow them. And the rest, for whatever reason, it's not right, I'm not going that route. You know what I mean? And boom. So, bore down the wheel, inner strength or being weak. You know what I mean? And just enough confidence, it's okay just to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what happened next? Did you go off to school or?
What happened next is, of course, I got introduced to sports.
Okay.
And sports was really, that's why I love sports, because it's almost like a universal thing. You can be in Paul's Wars, I believe, just to put on a sporting event. And sports, music, art, that sort of thing. And that was kind of, sort of, at that time, plentiful in my neighborhood because we had a rec center nearby.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a couple, actually.
Okay.
And then the Capitals, when they first bought the Caps here, when the Caps first bought here, they built a skating rink, maybe half mile from where I live, if that far. And we used to go down there to see the Capitals practice. They give us hockey pucks, sticks, and stuff
cool.
like that there. So, yeah, that was cool.
So do you think that by you being able to play sports and join the team that you were able to kind of shift your focus and get on a different path?
Yeah, because we were always busy. You know what I mean? They're taking us on, the clinics and, meeting NFL players, NBA players, baseball players. So, yeah, it was super cool.
That's so true. Like, sports does offer a lot of resources. Like, you have a gym, you have access to health facilities, you
Right.
have people around you investing in you.
Right.
But I think that boxing is not necessarily one of them sports. Like, yes, you have access to a gym and people investing in you, but there's not a lot of, like, outside resources pouring into this yet. Do you agree with that?
Yes, in some instances, not in ours, because that's why I support your rec centers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When we used to get out of school, the counselors at the rec became our parents. You know what I mean? They kept us in line. They taught us the way. Our parents were able to support them in doing so. They come to schools. If your parent couldn't make it, they'd do the parent-teachers meeting. And in DPR, I can honestly say that every mayor that I've had since I've been here supported us.
Oh,
in this
good.
box.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, and I think it's important for your communities to support, your local DPRs or your rec centers.
Absolutely, because what do you think there is to say about, like, young men and being able to have an outlet for their aggression or their anger or frustration or whatever the case may be?
You gotta have it. You got so many. Well, let me go back a little bit. When I first started coaching these young people here, and you know Boogie's the legendary pad man. Boogie was between 18 and 19
Really?
when I first started coaching. Now he's about 52.
Wow.
Right? And most of the kids back when, I used to get, they were in, kind of bad situations, shelters, juvies, you know what I mean? Some of the guys came home from the penitentiary, things of this nature, searching for the outlet that you spoke about. And through program, they found it, you know what I mean?
Do you think, okay, so I always wonder, like, in order to get in the ring with somebody, do you have to, like, make yourself mad at them? Like, do you leave the emotions outside and look at it like this is a sport? Like, I gotta separate it.
You can't take it personal, because think about it, and it's funny too, because sometimes we get people in here, and there was one situation, we had 2 young ladies, they were sparring years ago, and the one with the lesser of experience, she was throwing hard punches, and then finally, when she got hit in the face, she said, "Hey, not the face, right?" And I said, "Oh, you can't be whooping on somebody else and not
Right.
expect to be getting hit back,
Right.
right? So it's not personal. You know, it's a sport. You know, it's just so close to fighting
Yeah.
as to why people take it personal.
Yeah.
I've even watched parents jump in the ring,
Right.
you know, fighting for their kid.
I
you know?
bet.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I bet. Did you box growing up?
Yes, when I was young, they took me off the baseball field to the boxing gym.
Why
I
is
got
that?
I don't know. They was starting a program,
Okay.
so they took us, and we all got with it. And I got my behind whooped the first
Did you?
day off. Brutal, you know what I mean? But then I was in and out of the gym, and then one day at the boys' club, number 14 Boys and Girls Club, there was a young man that was taking martial arts, and he's from around the neighborhood, so I knew him. Asked me, could I help him? Help you do what? He said, can you help me box? I said, man, the coach ain't here, you know, he got to come back tomorrow. He said, can you help me? And so I, you know, of course, I didn't know nothing about teaching nobody how to box. And he kept coming. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I put his punches and his combinations in numbers that only him and I knew.
Okay.
And turned around, you know, he started doing his thing. I would hold my hand up and give him a symbol or sign, and he'd do it. And when they put him in his first fight, he stops this kid, you know what I mean? And it was a high for me. And I've been chasing that high ever since.
So that's what got you into coaching.
That's what got me into coaching.
What are some things that you've learned about yourself through coaching boxing?
Patience. You have to go through the humiliation process, sometimes several times. And then you have to have confidence and belief. I mean, because when you're leading people like that, you know, if you fall short of your goal, it's easy to lose focus. It's easy to lose confidence. I mean, and you got to find a way to hold on to that, and just know that it's okay to make mistakes. An old mentor of mine told me on a job one time. He said, "Come here, son." And I went because I was having a bad day. He said, "You ever done this before?" I said, "No." He said, "So that means you wasn't born knowing this, then, right?" I said, "Nope." He said, "Listen, man, don't never let that moment be too big for you. It's okay to make a mistake." And when he said that, it kind of lifted off this weight off of me, man, and I would go for it then. Yeah.
And so since then, you feel like you've been comfortable with making mistakes.
Extremely comfortable.
That is a good lesson, too, because I find that, like, we're never prepared for life to humble us, right? But there are instances where you can do some things to prepare. You know what I mean? And I think that that experience is necessary for growth.
Right.
Do you believe in everybody that comes in here
As a person or as an athlete?
as an athlete?
I cannot, because that wouldn't be realistic. Because everybody that come through those doors, you know, even if they're good enough, still it's not guaranteed that they're gonna finish the process or make this journey.
What's the distinguishing factor? Is
Yes.
it like their athletic ability or is it their will?
It's a few things. Two of the things you just named. It's their confidence. It's their ability to comprehend. How far can I push you?
Right.
You know what I mean? If I push you a little bit more, will you break? You know? How will you react in front of crowds when the lights cut on or when you're sitting in front of all these legendary fighters? You know what I mean? Can you perform then? And then oftentimes the ones that you think gonna do it don't. And then the ones that you least expected are the ones that become the superstars.
Have you seen somebody get in front of the lights, camera, action, and fold?
Bunch of them.
And is it your job over there in the corner to get them back going?
You could try, you know what I mean? Yes, you know, a lot of times the fighter take on your energy too. So if they see doubt in your face or, you know, or detect some doubt in you, then a lot of times they'll start doubting themselves. So you got to make them believe they can pick this ring up and walk across the street
Right.
by themselves.
Right.
Hey, you know what I mean?
What kind of things are you saying to them in the corner?
Oh, it
I've always
depends,
been
because each one
curious.
is different.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? You got some that you can, hype up by with the rah-rah stuff. I'm an X and O's type of guy, and I like to call the jab, the right hand, this is the counter, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But there are times where you have to, dig somewhere deep down and find something that you know that'll trigger the response that you're looking for. Yeah.
So you have to be able to read people and be able to analyze and assess right there in that moment what will be good for you.
So if the fight is heated, all right, and maybe we were in Los Angeles or Vegas with one of the fighters. ESPN fight, I think it was. And fight was, again, one of those fights back and forth, and take the lead, you lose the lead. It was nip and tug all the way, and it was eliminated for a world title shot. And so the fight was just that close. And I told the fighter, I said to him, I said, have I ever asked you for anything? He shook his head, no. I said, then give me these 3 minutes. Yeah, and I started talking, because it was beyond, at that time, it was beyond that time with the jab, right hand, left hook. You know what I mean? I had to find something, to get that spark. And when I said that, then I said, can you do it? And he looked. And I told him I love him. He went out there and did his thing, man. Yeah, he did
That
his
is
thing.
so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes all they need is love.
Yeah, just somebody to believe in them. You know what I mean? That you can
deeply.
get it done. Yes.
Because like you said, a lot of these men come from troubled backgrounds and situations where they need someone to pour into them.
Yes.
Oh, that must be fulfilling for you. How does that feel? Do you have kids?
4.
Oh, okay. Are they girls, guys?
2 girls, 2 boys.
Do they fight?
One of them dead.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them dead. And it's crazy because I never wanted to be that. Some of the parents can go crazy.
Right.
And I never wanted to be the crazy parent, you know what I mean? So, I would look at them, and I'm able to do that, look at athletes and not necessarily my kids.
Yeah.
They're all my kids, So when you come in here, you one of the guys. That's it.
Okay, you can separate it.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Can I tell you my honest thoughts on boxing?
Yes.
Okay, so this was really like my first introduction into like being this close up. I was pretty close up,
Okay.
I'm talking about like being able to interact with the boxers and the coaches and being in the gyms. I'm first of all very impressed by the skill that it takes. Like seeing skilled professionals is really interesting to me and fascinating. However, I have never been into boxing because I'm an empathetic person. So like seeing people get hurt, I can't. Like it hurts my feelings.
Do it, right?
Like seeing the sweat fly off of them when they get hit, I'm like, oh, stop the fight. And also like this was my first time going to like, the weigh-in. I don't like how they gotta I get it, but like you gotta get undressed in front of everybody. It gives like slavery times.
When you look at it that way, you stand on the podium and everybody looking at you, and
like
you got you stripped down. Yeah.
I'm like, this is so uncomfortable.
That is crazy you say that because, one of the auctioning blocks is right across the water in Virginia right there. You can see it now.
Really?
That the waters are, the leaves off the trees.
That is scary.
Yeah.
Do you notice any, like, similarities between the two? Like,
I didn't until you just said
really?
something. Yeah, you just said that, and it's crazy because they do NFL players that way too,
all sports,
Poke,
really.
prodding them, touching them, all kinds of stuff, right? I never thought about it like that, but you're 100% right.
I think it's like going to Howard and like, just being trained to like look for that kind of stuff. I was like, this is really uncomfortable.
Right. As soon as you said that, I had the images of a man stripped down, had been beaten with the thing around his neck on the auction block. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went to the weigh-in, I honestly felt like a lot of compassion for them. Like, if somebody told me to get undressed and get up on this and weigh in front of everybody, oh, absolutely not. I mean, I get it's part of the profession. I know they're getting paid, but is there anything within boxing culture you want to see change for the better?
Yeah, there are a few things. I'm not one for all the drama. I hate, that garbage, man. Because some of the stuff they talk about when they face to face and here, that's like almost a death sentence to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I just don't want it to get to a point where it's more about that garbage and less about the art itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So I asked you before we got started, but I didn't let you finish your sentence because I said, wait till the cameras come on. Is this your gym?
This gym belongs to D.C. government, Parks and Recs.
Okay.
The Mayor Fenty. The story behind this is we had we originated from Lincoln School, the Bowser Lincoln School, the old Lincoln School, Northwest D.C. And they found a little storage room, for us. And it wasn't that much bigger than this ring. And had a container, some kind of big blue container with whatever was in it that stained the floor. And then I had a friend come through with some fence piping and some rope. And he built me a ring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's how we started. But then we ended up moving, after they closed the school, we ended up moving to Southeast. And when we got here, they had another little small room, maybe about the same size as the other one. A little bit wider, give or take. And Mayor Fenty then came in years ago, and it smelled like a barn. There was so many kids and parents, and we spilled out in the hallway, the weight room, turned the other open space, and so he was like, looked at me, said, I got you. And so they ended up giving us, we moved out for 2 years. They ended up giving us a ton of money. By the time the project was finished, or really in full swing, Mayor Gray was in office, which was another ally.
Okay, good.
Great man, and a friend. And he finished the project.
Okay.
So I got a call one day, and you know how some people tell you over the years, it's gonna be this way, they're gonna do this, that, and the other, and it never happens, right? So I didn't think much of it until they broke ground, and I started seeing the building go up. And then I wouldn't come over no more. So I got a call. They sent me down by the Navy Yard temporarily. I got a call. Mayor wants you to come on, ready to open the gym. I came in the door, they gave me a big giant pair of scissors.
Aww.
And, so we ended up cutting the ribbon, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was heavy, because, I was thinking about, when I saw the bricks, the wall, I saw faces more than the bricks, what we had to go through, the people that were here, And so, I really, really, appreciated what they had done. And then Mayor Bowser, I actually met her when she was a candidate at one of the pro fights we had here. I believe it was the Adrian Bronner fight. And she has been very supportive of the program, and my hat go off to her. I'm proud of her. I got mad love for her. And through troubled times, I like how she held her ground. So.
Okay. You must be so proud.
She a real headbanger.
Oh, good. I love that. But I'm just thinking about all the people who have come through here that has been impacted by this gym, but also how you have been impacted by this gym. How has your life changed since coaching here?
Coaching here. I listen, I was on the U.S. team for years. I've been places that I never would have seen had it not been for boxing. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in the sport. But I can honestly say the good outweighed the bad. That's why I ended up staying. I stayed on the U.S. team, I believe, for about maybe 12 years. I had a chance to and have worked with some of the greatest fighters of all time, in our time. Had the pleasure of being mentored by people like Emmanuel Stewart, to me, who is hands down the greatest coach of all time. Information and advice from Angelo Dundee, legendary trainer, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
Mr.
met
George
him?
Washington. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not only met him, he's giving me all kinds of jewels.
Really?
Yeah.
What, can you give us one?
Nah, I'll save that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're going
save
to
it.
keep that one inside?
Yeah, I'm going to keep that one inside. Mr. George Washington from New York, that had Kevin Kelly, Tom Johnson, worked with Riddick Bowe. Just legendary trainers. And here, Ham Johnson, Adrian Davis, Mr. Dave Jacobs, Mr. McCain. You know what I mean? These are the people that I stood on their shoulders.
Oh.
And so when they spoke, I listened. I didn't do no talking. I listened to them.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Lou Duva. You know, it
Yeah.
was so many.
Wow.
So many. Yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my final question for you. You mentioned having worked with some of the greats. Who are some of the greats of today's time as far as boxing? I see some of them behind us right now.
And you see some of them behind us is Future, like Scooter, Derek Davis, Nashi Smith, you know, that's Kobe Abridi, he was on the Olympic team from Barbados.
Wow.
And along with his younger brother. But it's been so many that, like I said, that I had a chance and the pleasure to work with in the past. Present, you have to look at people like Gervonta. You have to look at Canelo Alvarez. You have to look at Terrence Crawford, Clarissa Shields, Franchon Cruz, which was the first undisputed super middleweight champ, just in here. You have to look at people like Inoue, and it's so many of them. You know what I mean? And then you got your Shakurs, you got your Keyshawn Davises, you have your, you know, it's a host of them. You know what I mean? But I do think that fighters of yesteryear versus fighters today, just like the NBA today versus NBA yesteryear, you know, let's go NBA. You know, it's almost like a run and gun system now versus when Mike and them played, Jordan, you had plays, high pick and rolls, low posts, you know, and the scores was like, a good game was 89-72 or something.
Okay.
Now, I seen a game the other day, it was like almost 170 points, right? Yeah, and your centers are shooting three-pointers. So, yeah,
what do you think? Okay, I know I said that was my last question, but I'm curious. What do you think has changed between athletes between now and then?
I think it's more about views and likes than it's about passion and love for the game and the history of the game.
Okay.
That's what I think. And I think that's in every sport, in almost every facet of life. Because now, even in boxing, they don't want to know your skill set as much as they want to know how many followers do you have.
Right.
You feel me?
Right, which is why you don't have social media.
Yeah, and so you got people with tons of followers, but they can't fight worth for you know what. You know what I mean? And then you got that guy that trains every day that don't get a like or two, or don't have views and likes, and nobody even looks at him. And I don't like that.
Yeah, we need to bring the skill back into the sport.
Yes. Skills do pay the bills. You know, you want to be able to put behinds in the seats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus abuse. Like you got, like I said, you got people that got more followers than the next person over here, but it don't mean that they can actually
that they're better.
fight or
right.
that they're better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's every sport.
Yeah, that's true. My hope is that talent will prevail.
Yeah, I think in order to make a better product, we gotta have to become better teachers. The bottom line, you know what I mean? Because I never consider myself as being just a trainer. I think I'm a teacher of the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
I do my studying, you know what I mean? The only thing different with me now is, you know, I had to realize that I do have other things in life that I want to do, because it was just all the boxing.
Like what?
Boxing was my mistress, you know, and it dominated everything, you know. But now, you know, I look at it as a business. I do my job because I hate losing. You know what I mean? I don't care what it is. I don't like to lose. But I found the balance.
Okay, good.
Put it that way. Yeah.
So this is my actual last question for
No,
you.
you ask as many as you want. No, before we get that one,
Yeah.
I want to shout out Kevin Wages, which was my coach, and Marvin Lee, which was the first person that I was trained.
Oh,
Those two are responsible for me being here
That
all
is
these
so
many
sweet.
years later. Yeah,
I
so
love
shout
that.
out to them dudes, man.
I mean, on that same line, what do you think your 9-year-old self who just moved from Northeast to Southeast would think of where you're at now?
It's wild, you know, because what really led me to boxing was being bullied.
Right.
And my sisters were brutal, you know. Growing up, they were my defenders, protectors, the whole nine, right? And when you're bullied, it's a violation, you know, and it make you feel, you know. And it did just the opposite for me, you know what I mean? So now, when it comes to people that's being bullied, I'm totally sympathetic, you know, for them, towards them, and but I can't stand bullies. With a passion, I can't stand them.
There's no code in it.
Yeah.
You picking on somebody smaller than you.
Yeah, all of that.
Why don't you go do that to somebody your own size?
All of that.
You know, and that's their own insecurity.
Yes, all of that, and I've seen it in the gym. I've seen one fighter, maybe, you know, all open or wide open against this other one, right? Whooping them, you know, no mercy, no empathy, no sympathy. And then when you put somebody in there of equal talent or better, they cower down.
Right.
Yeah, I don't respect that.
Do you put a stop to it when you see it?
Absolutely. You're gonna learn a lesson in here.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna sink or swim. Bullies get bullied in here.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that this is a place where not only are you learning a skill of boxing, but you're also learning a skill of life, like how to be a man,
Yes.
a good man.
Absolutely. And if you notice, you know, everybody, when you come in here, everybody gonna greet you. You know what I mean? You can be courteous. You shake, a handshake, a hug, and a smile.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we ain't gonna have it no other way.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm like, why is everybody in boxing so nice? Like in every other music, entertainment, anything, they're all, you know, egos. But
Right.
here I'm like, dang, everybody's been so kind.
Because you know, you in this stuff, you fighting and sparring and doing all this stuff every day. The last thing you want to do is beef with somebody when you get out here on the average.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you got something just like anybody else. That's just their whole makeup, you know. But for the most part, you know, we don't want no drama, man. You know, you just do our thing and roll, you know. And that's what we try to teach you here. This is our place of business. This is your job. While you at work, you do your job. When you leave out of them doors, leave your work here.
Yeah.
Pick it up when you come back.
Coach Berry, you've done such an excellent job,
Oh,
like
thanks.
with the fighters, but also just talking to me today. So I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, no, it's
letting
no
us
problem.
use your space.
No problem.
Having a conversation. I know you super low key, so I really appreciate this.
All praise due to God. Sommer, thanks for being here. Come anytime. Yeah, I told you that. You know what I mean? Cool. And you got to put some gloves on.
I
too.
know. Let's do that.
All the men jocking it. If you ain't a hater, you should be watching it. Care for the community, practice being in unity.
She just did some big
Sommer
work with
Time
Coach
Productions.
Bo.
Headbangers.